bringing in the corn and the squash. The fall crops are coming in. But this isn't the point of the video. I thought I'd make a video where I shared, I guess like a theory or just a philosophy on building and working that has worked really nicely for me, and I just wanted to share it with folks. So on the surface, looking at this, you'd say, who cares? It's just some little pallet thing, and that's absolutely true. But I built this yesterday for a total of maybe $14. The roof metal I bought off of Craigslist a ways back. I had it cached somewhere for $2 a piece. I basically built it based on the roof metal I had available. And then these pallets I scavenged from a local fitness place. They sell treadmills and all that kind of stuff, which is ridiculous. But they have these really nice long pallets. And so I built this thing without really measuring much at all, without planning too much in advance, just knowing that I needed a place to store all this miscellany that's out here. And now for less than $20 and reclaiming and repurposing old material, I have a structure that will serve us pretty nicely. I still have some more work to do with the shed wing on this side so we can hang tools, and one on that side. So it's a work in progress. But what I wanted to share was basically the philosophy of how I go about building these sorts of things, which is to not get stressed out about building them really well. Just build them simply and quickly so that they can start serving your needs, and do it with reclaimed material, and then there's no pressure to get it perfect. We'll look at this from some other angles. So there's really nothing fancy about it. It's basically stood up some pallets, looked at them, thought it through, designed these spaces really generously wide. I could always make more shelving within there. Just be able to put a bunch of stuff out of the way, put a bunch of sawdust around, and develop some garden beds around it. And now this area feels way more manageable and way more pleasant to be in. And because I didn't get locked into getting new lumber or designing it, etc., I could just act on it and get it done and not have to feel stress. Similar idea is this thing I call the Lumbermaster 3000. I'll link to that joking video I made. That is basically just a really simple way to lay up tons of lumber off the ground with exposure to the sun. This has worked quite nicely for over a year now. This cost about $1.50 to build. So really unattractive by most eyes. To me, it's attractive because it's simple and it works and it costs next to nothing, and it all uses reclaimed material. This was before I had the sheet metal, so I just used old silage bags that I had access to and battened them down with offcuts of waste wood. Same basic pallet structure as the one in the beginning of the video. And this holds about 1.5 cords of firewood. Also some hoops for our low tunnels, and has a place to put extra wood, which I may get more organized and actually make some shelving there. I built this 3 years ago for under $5, and it's still holding up. When this breaks, at some point the roof will give in. I'll rebuild it in a nicer way, but for now it works. There's that structure, and then I think this was the first one I built, were these bays, and so I added this one on later. And there's a place in there to store fire brick and kindling and tools, and then all this firewood. And yeah, it's ugly in that it's got the poly on it, but this was old greenhouse plastic that someone was throwing out, so I repurposed it. And so we can heat our home the entire winter on firewood that I harvest from projects that I manage, in structures that in total cost less than $10 to build and have lasted 3 years so far. So it's beautiful when it's looked through that lens, in my mind. And pallets are used extensively with our project. This is another pallet structure in the garage. We needed more storage space. It's a very tiny garage that I try to do woodworking, but this is also where we package our orders to be shipped. And so we needed a place to be able to put stuff out of the way. So reclaim some pallets, take a nice piece of locust as my upright, and for less than $5 we've got ample shelving that can store miscellany and shoes and glass bottles, and another one on the other side of the door that can store water and all sorts of other things. Maybe $10 in total for all of that. So this video wasn't meant to be, training DIY like specifics. Here's how to build these things. But more than anything, to inspire folks that feel either limited in funds available or limited in the carpentry skills that they have, that hey, you can just build stuff and keep your prices low and reclaim material. Then the stakes aren't high and you can make lots of mistakes, and if it doesn't work out in a year or two, you take it apart and use it for other things, or not. Put it on the side of the road and give it away for free on Craigslist. This little sun shed wing lets me work outside in the summer months. The only cost was the polycarbonate roofing, and that's substantial. It's about $80 in that material. But then the rest of it is all reclaimed lumber and under $10. So, moral of the story, if you've got 50 bucks, you can build a whole bunch of ways to store and organize material that doesn't take a long time to build, and the stakes aren't high. So I'd encourage you all to build and try and learn. That's what I'm doing. I've obviously got no professional training or skills, but it's serviceable and it works for us and it moves our life forward. So thanks for watching.